Hi everyone, Namaste. So in the last class we completed 17th group elements, physical properties and chemical properties. Now there are some important preparation properties are there. So I already written in the board. So one by one we will see. The first compound will be dichlorine. So dichlorine preparation and properties already written. So these reactions we have to practice. And remember one thing. So preparation properties are not much that important like remaining other parts like structures, orders. So those are the most important. So in the equations, possibility of one equation is there. So you have to practice these important equations. So whatever the possible importance are there, I am giving here. So in preparing chlorine, so chlorine can be prepared by number of techniques. Mostly in the laboratory, in small amount, it can be prepared by decomposition of manganese salts. Manganese salts on decomposition in presence of acid, we get dichlorine. For example, MnO2 plus 4HCl. So produce MnCl2, water and Cl2. So in place of HCl, we can use NaCl and H2SO4. So both are same. NaCl, H2SO4 or HCl, almost same. Similarly, potassium permanganate again combines with HCl, we get dichlorine gas. So reactions we have to practice this. So manganese salts on treated with acids like HCl, we get dichlorine gas. So in large process, so that means in large amount, that is called manufacture. So manufacture of chlorine mostly done by one process. That process is called Dakens process. So what is Dakens process is? It is the atmospheric oxidation of HCl. So HCl on atmospheric oxidation in presence of copper chloride catalyst, we get dichlorine. The process is called Dakens process. So Dakens process is the atmospheric oxidation of HCl. Another process is there, that is electrolysis of brine solution. So we know what is the brine solution. Brine solution is nothing but salt solution. So concentrated NaCl solution is called brine solution, which on electrolysis we get dichlorine gas at anode, hydrogen gas will get at cathode. So all these are the preparation of dichlorine. Similarly, when we are seeing properties, so chlorine has reacted with both metals and non-metals. It will combine with metals also, will combine with non-metals also. So most of the chlorine reactions we all know, it will react with metals. Example, sodium, NaCl, aluminium, AlCl3, magnesium, MgCl2. Like that, number of reactions are there. But whatever most important reactions are there, possible for exam that I am writing here. So chlorine will combine with NaOH in two types. If the NaOH is present in cold and dilute condition, also NaOH is present in hot and concentrated condition. If chlorine combines with cold NaOH, the product will be NaCl, NaOCl. So NaOCl is called hypochlorite. So NaOCl is hypochlorite. OCl minus is called hypochlorite ion. Sodium hypochlorite. Similarly, if it combines with hot NaOH, it will form NaClO3, that is called chlorate. So with cold and dilute NaOH, it will form hypochlorite. With hot and concentrated NaOH, it will form chlorate. So these two important reactions with cold and hot NaOH. Similarly, another one is chlorine will combine with ammonia, also two types. In these two reactions, if chlorine is excess, the product will be NCl3, which is an explosive compound, nitrogen trichloride. If ammonia is present in excess amount, then the product is N2 and NH4Cl. So these four reactions are important reactions. This we have to practice. So with NaOH and with ammonia. Similarly, if chlorine combines with water, it will form HCl and HOCl. This is called chlorine water. This chlorine water on long standing, it loses color. We already seen that chlorine is yellow color, greenish yellow color. But whenever on long standing, chlorine water loses its color. Why it is losing its color? Reason is due to formation of HCl and HOCl. So because HOCl, its name you already know, it is the hypochlorous acid. It is an oxo acid. Hypochlorous acid. And this hypochlorous acid will lose oxygen converted to HCl. Since it is releasing oxygen, so this is called nascent oxygen. So because of this nascent oxygen, they exhibit bleaching character. So the bleaching character of chlorine is permanent due to releasing of nascent oxygen. Also, it is also oxidizing agent. So chlorine water is permanent bleaching due to releasing of nascent oxygen. So remember this. So the other reactions are these are the other reactions of chlorine. So as I said, chlorine is an oxidizing agent. So due to releasing of oxygen from water. So this chlorine in solutions will oxidize ferrous to ferric. So this is a ferrous sulfate. Fe charge will be +2. So this ferrous sulfate can be converted to ferric sulfate in presence of chlorine. So the chlorine oxidizes ferrous to ferric. Here the charge of iron will be +3. So that is oxidation character of chlorine. Will oxidize ferrous to ferric. Similarly, so this is the sodium sulfite and this is the sodium sulfate. So chlorine oxidizes sulfite to sulfate, SO3, and this will be SO4, sulfite to sulfate. Similarly, it will oxidize sulfur dioxide to sulfuric acid in presence of water. So similarly, iodine, when we are comparing iodine and chlorine, we know that chlorine is a better oxidizing agent. It oxidizes iodine to iodic acid. HiO3 is a iodic acid. So this is the oxo acid again. So all these are the oxidation properties of chlorine. So chlorine can oxidize ferrous to ferric, sulfite to sulfate, sulfur dioxide to sulfuric acid, iodine to iodic acid. So all these are the oxidizing properties of chlorine. So similarly, if chlorine gas we are passed through lime water, that is calcium hydroxide, so we get a mixture of CaOCl twice and CaCl2 and water. And this mixture is nothing but bleaching powder. So the composition of bleaching powder will be CaOCl twice plus CaCl2. So this is called composition of bleaching powder. So sometimes they will ask formula of bleaching powder. So what is composition and formula difference? Actually, bleaching powder is a mixture of both CaCl2 and CaOCl twice. If one of oxygen we are sending here, its formula will be CaOCl2. This is also will become CaOCl2. So this is one oxygen is going here. This will become CaOCl2. This is also will become CaOCl2. So this is called formula. So this is the formula of bleaching powder, whereas this total is called composition of bleaching powder. So sometimes they will ask composition. So composition means mixture, and sometimes they will ask formula. Formula is nothing but calcium oxychloride CaOCl2. So this is the formula of bleaching powder, and this is the composition of bleaching powder. So chlorine gas and pass through calcium hydroxide, we get bleaching powder. So all these are the properties of dichlorine. So the next compound will be hydrogen chloride. So HCl can be prepared mostly by reaction of NaCl with sulfuric acid. So this is the mostly laboratory preparation. NaCl when combines with sulfuric acid, we get HCl and NaHSO4 at temperature of 420 Kelvin. If you are increasing temperature, so it will combine with extra amount of NaCl. NaCl will combine with NaHSO4 at 823 Kelvin temperature. We get HCl and Na2SO4. So directly we can write so 2 NaCl plus H2SO4 produce 2 HCl plus Na2SO4. So combining of these two equations will be this one. So simply NaCl will combine with sulfuric acid. So we get hydrochloric acid and sodium sulfate ion. So but at low temperature 1 mole of HCl will form, at high temperature extra mole of HCl will form. So this is the laboratory preparation of HCl. Similarly, when we are taking properties of HCl, so properties of HCl. So HCl is mostly used in industrial chemical because it is a very strong acid. So it is also present in stomach as a gastric juice. So mostly in chemistry, so it is used in making of aqua regia. So what is aqua regia? It is the 3:1 ratio of mixture of HCl and HNO3 respectively. That means, so 3 moles of HCl and 1 mole of HNO3 when you are mixing, the product is called aqua regia, and this aqua regia is used to dissolve noble metals. So any noble metals can be dissolved in aqua regia. That is the 3:1 ratio of HCl and HNO3 respectively. So in this aqua regia, there must be Cl minus ions, also NO3 minus ions. So these both ions will be dissolved noble metals. Noble metals like gold, platinum, so all noble metals are easily dissolved in aqua regia. When gold combines with aqua regia, it contains H plus, NO3 minus and Cl minus ions. So formation of gold chloride, AuCl4 minus, and releasing of nitric oxide gas. Similarly, platinum combines with aqua regia will form complex of PtCl6 2 minus. So both of these are complexes. Simply, noble metals can form complexes in aqua regia. That means it can be dissolved in aqua regia. So these are just important properties of hydrochloric acid. Thus chlorine and hydrochloride. So these two products are most important. So whatever the reactions I given, just practice these reactions. So mostly exam questions will come from these equations. So the next we will start 18th group elements. So after 16th and 17th group, so the next one is the 18th group elements. We all know that 18th group elements are called noble gases or inert gases, also called zero group elements since their valency is the 0. Now all these 18th group elements, noble gases are monoatomic in nature. When compared with other elements, all these 18th group elements are monoatomic gases. So since these are highly stable, does not react with other elements, they always exist as monoatomic. So these are monoatomic and whose Cp by Cv value. Whenever anyone is asking Cp by Cv ratio of monoatomic values, that must be 1.66 value. So this is called Poisson's ratio. All noble gases Poisson's ratio will be 1.66. So remember it. The Cp by Cv ratio of any monoatomic gas like helium, neon, argon will be 1.66. Now, so these noble gases mostly present in the atmosphere. The mostly 1% of atmosphere. In the atmosphere, mostly 1% by volume contains noble gases. Among all noble gases, argon is the most abundant among the all noble gases. So mostly 1% of noble gas present in the atmosphere yearly. Among that, argon is the major one. Now, the noble gases are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and the last one is the radon. Actual radon is a radioactive element. Radon is actually a radioactive element, so it will be formed by disintegration of radium. Radium atomic number 88, mass will be 226. So which on disintegration it will form radon 86, 222, and it liberate helium particles. This will be 2 and 4. So radium on releasing of helium, so they will form radon. So radon is a radioactive. It is mostly used in treatment of cancer by radiotherapy. So it is a radioactive element, mostly formed by disintegration of radium. So except radon, remaining all noble gases from helium to xenon. So helium and neon mostly exist in the minerals of radioactive like pitchblende. Pitchblende, monazite, clevite. So all these are the minerals of radioactive. So helium, neon mostly present in the these radioactive minerals like pitchblende, monazite, cleveite, whereas radon is formed by disintegration of radium. So remaining all are present in the naturally atmosphere: argon, krypton, xenon. So argon is the most abundant of noble gases. It is the most abundant. The total abundance of noble gases will be 1% by volume. So now this is the occurrence of noble gases: helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon. So in noble gases, so when we are taking physical properties like atomic radius, so atomic radius top to bottom increases. So that all we know that. So sometimes this is also called van der Waals radius. Since noble gases containing mostly van der Waals forces, we can call van der Waals radius also. So that atomic radius or van der Waals radius will be top to bottom increases. So helium is the small in size, xenon is the large in size. Similarly, when we are taking ionization energy, so already noble gases are octet configuration, all are highly stable except helium. Helium is the doublet. Since it is present in first shell, it contains only 2 valence electron. So this is the doublet. Remaining all are octet. Since all are highly stable, the removing of electron from noble gas is very difficult. That's why the ionization energy of all noble gases are very high when compared with remaining other groups. So from left to right, when we are taking, ionization will be increases. Noble gases will exhibit high ionization energy. And these high ionization energy values, when we are moving from top to bottom, this will be decreases. Ionization energy top to bottom decreases due to increasing of size. So xenon will be lowest ionization energy, helium will be high ionization energy. So similarly, here electron negativity, other properties are not required. Atomic radius, ionization energy. So another important property will be van der Waals forces. So these van der Waals forces top to bottom increases. So why? Because top to bottom atomic radius, that means surface area increasing. So van der Waals forces are physical forces which are only depends on surface area. Since top to bottom surface area increasing, so van der Waals force also increasing. So xenon containing high intermolecular forces, whereas helium containing low intermolecular forces. Since forces are increasing top to bottom, the boiling point also top to bottom increases. Or melting point also we can take. Boiling point and melting point. So both we can take. So both melting point, boiling point, top to bottom increases. Xenon will be high melting point, helium will be low melting point, helium will be low boiling point. So we all know that helium is a permanent gas because its boiling point is very low. So nearly it will be minus 240 something. So its melting point and boiling points are very low. That's why it is called permanent gas. So that's why helium mostly we used in diving apparatus. So cylinders of divers will be diluted with helium because of decreasing the solubility of atmospheric gases. So helium is the most important. It is a very low boiling point. Why it is low boiling point means due to its small size, it has very small intermolecular forces. So intermolecular forces top to bottom increasing. That's why boiling point, melting point, top to bottom increasing. So sometimes they also called liquefaction character. So top to bottom liquefaction will be increases. So xenon can be easily liquefied, whereas helium is very less liquefied. So all these physical properties of noble gases: atomic radius, ionization energy, intermolecular forces we call van der Waals forces, boiling point, melting point, top to bottom increasing, liquefaction character also top to bottom increasing. So we have seen that mostly noble gas present in the atmosphere. So 1% of by volume contains noble gases, and these noble gases we have to separate from the atmospheric gases. So the separation of noble gases. So So how to separate is mostly the atmospheric gases when heated with copper. So copper removes oxygen, so will form copper oxide. After that, the remaining gases when you are sending with magnesium, so magnesium removes nitrogen. So both oxygen and nitrogen will be removed by passing through first copper and magnesium. So copper removes oxygen by converting into copper oxide. Magnesium removes nitrogen by converting into magnesium nitride. So remaining all noble gases what are present are there. So these can be separated by using one class, that is called Gibbs class. So through this Gibbs class method, we can separate all noble gases. So the mixture containing all noble gases like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon. This mixture, when we are passing through activated coconut charcoal. So charcoal is nothing but carbon. It is allotrope of carbon. So through this coconut charcoal, so it is an absorbing agent. Through this coconut charcoal at minus 100 Celsius, when we are passing these gases, so some gases will be absorbed and some gases will cannot be absorbed. So mostly helium, neon, these intermolecular forces are very less. That's why these two will be unabsorbed at this minus 100 Celsius. At this minus 100 Celsius, argon, krypton, xenon will be absorbed. And from these absorbed gases, again we are maintaining a liquid air temperature. Among this, argon will be unabsorbed. So unabsorbed means it will be released. Remaining krypton, xenon will be absorbed. Again we are maintaining temperature at minus 19 Celsius. So krypton will be released. That means unabsorbed. Xenon will be absorbed. So simply at different temperature, so different gases will be absorbed. So this process is called Gibbs process. So through Gibbs process, we can separate noble gases by using activated coconut charcoal. So first, all noble gas we are sending at minus 100 Celsius. Among this, helium, neon. Since these are low intermolecular forces, it will be released. Release means unabsorbed. Remaining all gases will be absorbed at charcoal. If we are maintaining temperature, liquid air temperature, argon will be released. Krypton, xenon will be absorbed. Again temperature on decreasing to minus 90. So increasing to minus 90. So krypton will be released. Xenium will be absorbed. Again this on heating, xenon also will be released. Similarly, if these two gases we are maintaining at minus 180, so neon will be absorbed. So helium will be released. So this means unabsorbed. So this is the separation of noble gases by using Gibbs class. So Gibbs class containing activated coconut charcoal. So through that we are sending all noble gases mixture. So at different temperature, so different noble gases will be absorbed. So write this diagram, it's important. So since noble gases are very less reactive, so it does not combine with any other element. So mostly they are in neutral. But however, so some important compounds of noble gas are prepared by xenon. So xenon will form some important fluorides and oxides. Why xenon only forming fluorides and oxides? Why not remaining elements are not forming? Remember, as I told, xenon is the last element of noble gas. So top to bottom when we are moving, so atomic radius will be increases and it will exhibit low ionization energy. When compared with other gases, xenon have low ionization energy. So removing of electron will be easy from xenon when we compare with other noble gases. That's why xenon can form positive charge by losing electron, and this value of ionization energy is exactly equal to ionization energy of O2 molecule. So from this O2 molecule, energy required to remove electron is exactly nearly similar to energy required removing the electron from the xenon atom. So actually the first noble gas compound, so prepared by using the ionization energy of O2 actual. So O2 plus will combine with PtF6 minus. So it is a red color compound synthesized in the laboratory, O2PtF6. In this, O2 positive ionization energy is nearly similar to ionization energy of xenon. So that's why by using this relation, the first noble gas compound prepared in the laboratory will be it is the first compound prepared in the laboratory. Hexaptf6, PTF6 charge will be minus, Hexa charge will be plus. So based on the formula of O2 PTF6, the first compound discovered is Hexaptf6. So after that, the xenon's number of oxides and number of chlorides are formed. So all these reactions are written here. When xenon combines with chlorine, it will form HeF2 solid. So when our xenon is excess, always it will form HeF2. When chlorine will be excess, it will form HeF4 or HeF6. So Hexa plus 2F2, 1:5 ratio when we are taking, they will form HeF6. It will combine with 3F2, HeF6. So HeF6 also can be prepared by HeF4 and O2F2. It will form HeF6 plus O2. All are simple reactions, this we have to practice. Now this xenon chlorides, either F2, F4, F6, all these xenon chlorides are chlorinating agents. That means, so whenever anyone required chlorine, they can donate chloride ions. Or anyone is donating chlorine, they can accept chloride ions also. So xenon chlorides can be chloride ion donors or chloride ion acceptors. Example, we are taking HeF2 plus PF1. So it can donate chlorine to phosphorus because phosphorus has extra vacant d orbital. So into the d orbitals it can donate chloride ion. The formation of positive charge of HeF and PF6 minus. Similarly, HeF4 also can donate chloride ion to the antimony, will form HeF3 plus. Similarly, when they combine with metal chlorides like first group elements. So first group elements are highly ionic in nature. They can release chloride ions. So the chloride ions are accepted by HeF6 converted to M plus and HeF7 minus. So they can donate also, they can accept also chloride ions. Similarly, xenon chlorides on hydrolysis, they produce different compounds. HeF2 on hydrolysis produce xenon, HeF4 on hydrolysis produce xenon and HeO3. HeF6 with one water molecule will form HeOF4, with two water molecule will form HeO2F2, with three water molecule will form HeO3. So only these are the important reactions of noble gases. So mostly 11 or 12 equations are there. So these reactions we have to practice. All are very simple equations. So these can be easily remembered, and these reactions are very easy. With one water molecule, oxygen will go inside, two chlorine will go outside. Because oxygen valency is a 2, it replaces 2 chlorine. It will form HeOF4. With 2 water molecule, 2 oxygen will come inside. HeO2F2, 4 chlorine will go outside. With complete hydrolysis, so 3 oxygen will go, and HeO3, all chlorines will come outside as HF. So these are very important reactions. Mostly any equation will come from these equations. These are the just 10 or 12 equations we have to practice. And another important one is the structures. HeF2, HeF4, HeF6, HeO3, HeO2F2, HeOF4. So these 6 molecules hybridization and structure. The most important, mostly number of times the structures, number of lone pairs, shape, geometry, there are. So hybridization is the most important concept in the P block. Wherever P blocks are there, some important structures are there. So by using hybridization. So practice these structures. Like one example I am giving. HeF2, HeF4, HeF6, HeOF4, HeO2F2 and HeO3. So just two structures I am explaining. So practice the remaining one. Suppose take HeF4. So how to calculate hybridization? Valence electrons of central atom. Central atom is xenon, it is a noble gas. Noble gas always contains 8 valence electron plus number of monovalent atoms. The one is a monovalent, total divided by 2, 8 plus 4, 12 by 2 will be 6. So 6 means sp3d2 hybridization. The geometry will be octahedral. So it should be like this, octahedral. So in this XeF, central atom will be xenon. There are 4 fluorine. 1, 2, 3, 4. This must be no atom, that means lone pair. Here no atom, that means lone pair. There are 2 lone pairs and 4 bond pairs present in XeF4 molecule. The shape should be like this. So this is a square planar shape. So XeF4, sp3d2 hybridization, square planar shape. Same like we can determine XeF2, XeF6. Suppose you are taking XeO2F2. See this? In XeO2F2, central atom will be xenon, valence electrons will be 8. Monovalent atom. Fluorines are monovalent, but oxygens are not monovalent. That's why only I am taking 2 fluorine divided by 2. This will be 5. 5 means sp3d. So sp3d means trigonal bipyramidal. So trigonal bipyramidal geometry should be 3 equatorial bonds, 2 axial bonds. So central atom will be xenon, 2 oxygens and 2 fluorines are there, oxygen and fluorine. So this must be lone pair. The shape will be seesaw shape. So like that we can determine XeF2, XeOF4, XeF6 and XeO3. So all this, practice this and send in the group. So this hybridization is also most important. Mostly in the exam they will ask what is the geometry, what is the hybridization, how many number of lone pairs are there. So any types of questions are possible. So this is about noble gas products. Now another important one is the uses of noble gas is also there. The uses present in our book, just practice it. So helium is used in low temperature devices, also used in filling of balloons, like that. Neon is used for the signboard advertisement purpose, so like that. Number of uses are there. All these uses you have to practice. So this is about noble gases. Thank you.